is the English Webinar Series in the EIS. If I'm not mistaken, this is number 5 in the series. And for today, the topic is writing your resume and in English and the do's and don'ts. And that's me again. That's the speaker for today. Right. Let me start with the program. Now, before I begin the program, a very short notes on housekeeping. You will notice that my eyes will go roaming upwards, and that's because I have another screen where I'm watching for your reactions. So when I ask for a thumbs up, if you believe you should give a thumbs up, please do. Then I can see it. Then I can react accordingly. That's right. Clarice, Anna, thank you very much. You know what I mean now. Okay, so forgive me if you see my eyes roaming upwards every once in a while. Great stuff. Okay, so let's start with going through today's program. I have a lot to cover, and let's start. Okay, tell them who you are the one they need. Remember that. This is going to be playing very often. Tell them you are the one they need for the company. So I'll go into the introduction in a while, introduction of myself. What is the resume? And then we try and solve the mystery for some. For me, it was anyway, resumes. What are resumes? What are CVs? What are biodata profile? What are they different? And then we go into the resume proper, purpose of resumes. We go into the format. We look at the format, the structure, and the contents of resumes. And then cover letter. This is going to be interesting. Cover letter and a thank you note. I'm not sure if all of you do this. I'll be asking that question later on. And then we go into the do's and don'ts from my perspective. I have to also qualify. When you talk about resumes, there are 1,000 ways of doing it. There are 1,000 different opinions, or maybe even more different opinions on what's right, what's wrong, and all that. So what I'm going to give you today is from my perspective, and also the perspective of many seasoned professionals and practitioners. Then we go into tips and summary, and we have at the final 30 minutes, the questions and discussions. So I would like you to hold on to your questions until the end, except, or maybe you can write it in the chat box, and Madiha, our gracious host from PERKESO, she can then remind me that I should be answering some questions. Does that sound good? Thumbs up if it's all clear. Thank you. Thumbs up, please, if it's all clear. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Right. So we can proceed then. Most of you have got your thumbs up. Hi, Akila. All right. Introduction. My name is Shah Ghani, as I was saying again. Now, I've worked in various capacities, in various industries, in various countries. I want to say something right now. Whenever I introduce myself and tell you that I've worked everywhere in different capacities, it's not to brag. Okay, my main reason is to tell you that I've done it before, that I've seen it. I've seen a lot of it before, and therefore, my objective is to give you my perspective from someone with the experience, and therefore give you the confidence with what I'm sharing. Is that good? Okay. So in various countries, of course, I worked in Malaysia, then I lived and worked in Saudi Arabia, and I lived and worked in Canada, Indonesia, Ukraine and Croatia. Okay, so I've sent out during my last 40 years of my career, I've sent out numerous resumes, numerous CVs, biodatas, and profiles Plus, I've received and vetted and gone through several resumes and CVs. As mentioned before, I say all this so that I want to instill confidence that you're sharing with someone who's actually done it. We can all pick up books and read about CVs and stuff like that. There's maybe 1 million plus articles written on it, but here the objective is for you to share with me, or for me to share with you what I've actually done. Right. Without further ado, let's start with the question: what is a resume? It's a formal, maybe one, maybe two. Yeah, hi. If you're following, can you have your muted, please? Thank you. A resume is a formal 1 to 2 page document that you, as an applicant, create to itemize your qualifications. Now, when I say qualification, I don't mean just academic qualifications, but every qualification that makes you suitable. Okay, we have, all right. Everybody go on mute for now, please. Thank you. Your qualifications, meaning your suitability for the position you're applying, right? Right. Now, a resume is both a window and a door. What do I mean by that? It's a window for employers into your suitability for the position or for the job, right? It's also a door. It's a door of opportunity for you to a new position and to a whole new world. So it's both a window and a door. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I have over the years been quite confused about what's a resume, what's the CV, what's a biodata, what's a profile. I'll try and simplify it here. Sometimes you can use it interchangeably, and also depending on which country you're operating or living in, it means different things in different countries. But let's try. Okay, a resume. What is it? It's a 1 to 2 page document. It contains key facts about your professional experience, your educational background, and the skills, your skills. Okay, and it's normally used for job application. This is what makes it stand out from profile, for instance. A profile is not normally used for job application. An important element about a resume is that you should tweak it or tailor make it for each and every position, different position you apply for. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Okay, now what's a CV? A CV is short form or abbreviation for curriculum vitae. And what does curriculum vitae mean? In Latin, in English, it means course of life. Just from that alone, you know that it's an in-depth document, much more in-depth than a resume. And therefore, you can go into 2 or more pages. It's a high level, it contains high level of detail about your achievements. And it's a lot more than just your career biography. It covers other things like maybe you have done a doctorate, you've published a thesis, so your publications, maybe you have received awards like Public Relations Award or Engineer of the Year or whatever, honors, your dato, or if you have title, and those kind of things in greater detail. So that's what comes in a resume. Okay, again, you can sometimes use these two interchangeably, but it's probably important to know the difference. And the CV, you don't normally need to change it for different positions. You don't normally need to tailor make it. You can use it a generic one for different purposes. Okay, so then what are resumes when you talk about them versus biodata and profile? Biodata documents are a summary, a very comprehensive summary of you as a person, not just your career. It tells about your character as well, your likes, your hobbies, your sport, the sports you like, person you admire, those kind of things. Typically, so they are longer than a page, depending on how long you've worked and how long you've lived. Profile. A profile is more like your life story, highlighting your experience and knowledge, usually to introduce a person in a professional capacity. For example, if a person is put forward as an expert in architecture, so then there are lots of stories about his or her achievement in that field. Okay, and another example is when PERKESO sent out a flyer, there was a profile of me included as in my capacity as a trainer. So unlike resumes and CVs, its profile is not usually for a job application. All right. Okay, now let's go back to resumes. We're talking about resumes today, right? So when we talk about resumes, what is the main purpose of resumes? Is it to flex your academic muscles? Is it to get this kind of comment from the receiver, from the hiring manager? Wow, this person has a string of degrees. Let's see some thumbs up or thumbs down. If you don't agree, it's thumbs down. If you agree that this is the purpose, then it should be thumbs up. How about it? You agree? Therefore, you agree that this is a person who has a string of degrees. You agree? Anna, okay. Adila, okay. I see a few thumbs down and a few thumbs up. I'm going to reveal the answer a little bit later. Okay, the other purpose is, another question I have for you is to brag about your connections. Wow, the person who received your resume will say, wow, this person knows all the big shots in town. Is this the purpose? Is it the main purpose? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Thumbs down, thumbs down. Yeah. All thumbs up. Good. Okay. Next question. Is it to impress with your command of the language? So that the receiver, the hiring manager, punya response is, wow, this person speaks the Queen's English. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs down. Therefore, you got it now. Wow, you surprised Hani Arana. Okay, thumbs down, thumbs down. Correct. This is all thumbs down because, no, oh, I just can't hear you. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Thumbs up, please.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. So, going back to this person speaks the Queen's language. No, that's not the real purpose. You don't have to speak the Queen's language to impress anyone. Okay, this is the subject for another webinar. But let me tell you, for a resume, you don't need bombastic language in your resume. In fact, you mustn't use bombastic language. Right now, we come to the real purpose, the real main purpose of sending a resume. This is what you want your hiring manager, the person who receives the resume, to think. This is the person who can do what I need done for my company. Does that make sense? You want the hiring manager to read your resume and say, there you go, this is it. This is the person. This is him. This is her. Jackpot, you hit it. Okay. This is the message you want to send. Very important throughout our 2 hours now and beyond. When you start writing resumes, when you're, I don't know when you're going to write your resumes, keep this in mind. The response you want from the receiver, from the hiring manager, from the personnel manager, from the CHRO is, just from reading your resume, I want to talk to this person. I want to see this person face to face. I want to ask him or her more questions, and I'm very interested in him or her. Are we good with this? Right. Okay. Now, purpose of resumes. It showcases your academic qualifications, right? If you have a degree or a diploma or certificate or master's or whatever, doctorate, it showcases that. It shares with the receiver your previous experiences. Mostly, it should be relevant and related experiences. And it shows the command of proper English. Notice I said proper English, not the Queen's English. No, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? I have a favorite saying, which people don't like to hear, but I say it anyway. When somebody says, "But you don't speak the Queen's English," and my response is, "The Queen's English is her problem, not mine." Okay, right. So all those three things that form the resume, they are very important elements in support of, again, your suitability for the job you are applying for. Are you going to see me repeating this? Your suitability, your resume should showcase your candidacy, to show that you are the one, you are the best one for the job. Otherwise, don't bother sending in a resume, right? Okay, now we talk about, let's go into the format and structure of resumes. This is a very large subject, but I'm going to try and go through it in a very short way, but clear and concise way. There are three kind of common resume formats. You have the time format or the chronological order format, the functional format, which goes by which function you have performed and stuff like that, or you can have the combination. Most common format is chronological. Most experts suggest not only do you do a chronological format, but you do it in reverse order. I'll expand on that in a little bit, in a little while. Okay, why do they want the reverse order? Because the first impression is that they want to see a current picture of you. How not say how you look like. You can be handsome, you can be pretty, doesn't mean anything in a job, unless it's going to be for different kind of jobs. Okay, but if you're applying for a normal job, like most of us, you want to have you. Okay, can everybody mute for now? If Madia, we have a bit. Yeah, we have a bit of feedback. Somebody's not muting. Okay. I'll try not to. How you look like, not personal appearance, but how you look like in terms of how suitable you are for the job. Okay, and they want to know what your current qualifications are, what your current suitability is, and once they are interested, then they want to know your past. Does your past give them more confidence in your ability, or does it cast a doubt in your ability? Okay, so that's why it's better to have your qualifications, for example, to start with the most recent, maybe a master's, and then an undergraduate degree, and then high school, and then primary school. Same thing with jobs. You start with your current job. If you're holding a current job, so you start with present, and then the job before that, and then the one before that, until your very first job right at the end. If you have any questions on this, if you have any comments, especially questions and comments, please feel free to ask at the last 30 minutes of this session at approximately 3:30 later. Okay, moving on. I'm reminding you again, what do you want your resume to do? You want it to tell the reader, the receiver of your resume, the hiring manager, you want to tell I am the one you need to do the job. Don't look any further. Look at my resume. Call me in for an interview. I'll convince you I'm the one you need for the job. Okay? You see this reminder from time and time again. For me, it is the most important thing to keep in mind when you do a resume. Okay? Rules of thumb of a resume in terms of format and structure. As mentioned, it should not exceed 2 pages. Are you wondering why? It's simple because if it's a job worth going for, then chances are you're going to get a lot of people applying for it. And human resource people, the person receiving your CV or your resume, are only human. They will lose the interest very quickly if if your story is too long. It's like telling a story, right? If you can tell a story very quickly and convince the reader, then you are the one that stands the better chance. If you are going to tell a story in a long-winded, roundabout way, chances are the listener's attention span is going to be short. He or she is not going to be interested before you even get to the end, the punchline, saying that you're the one. Okay. The other suggestions, these are all suggestions. You should use a 10 to 14 point font size. Anything smaller, and you make it more difficult for the reader to read. Anything bigger, then you're probably applying to, I don't know, go into primary school or kindergarten. Um, Corporate style font, very important. Use corporate style font. I'll give you examples. Arial, Kandara, these are corporate style fonts which are business-like, which are clear and very easy to read. The other two common ones are Calibri and Verdana. There are many hundreds of fonts available out there. Try not to be too adventurous. Stick to the ones that are proven. And these four are examples of those proven ones. What not to use? Okay, here we go. Ink free, modern love. Nice to look at, but in a resume, I don't think so. Would you agree? Can we see some thumbs up? You get some interaction here? Right. Who uses this? Yeah. Who uses this kind of fonts and more? Rage italic. Rage italic. Okay, that really sounds like you're playing the fool there. You're not being serious about sending your CV. And Comic Sense. The name itself tells you that will tell the reader that you're not a serious applicant. Okay. Make sure to include, now again, this varies from country to country. When I was in Canada, for example, you don't need to send a photo. They don't want to know how you look like. They don't want to know how old you are. They don't want to know even if you're a guy or a girl. Okay, for most jobs. But here in Malaysia, it's still the practice that they want to see the most recent photo of you. Now, for example, I'm now way into my 60s. If I send a picture of myself in my 30s, it's what do you call it? You call it lying, right? You call it misrepresenting the facts. So recent photo, and take a photo of a corporate headshot, not one of you dancing away or eating away. That wouldn't be appropriate, right? You can pose, but have appropriate posing. And as far as appearance is concerned, you should have a clear and clean look. I'll give you examples. There we go. The first two I would recommend. I would say they are appropriate poses, and it shows confidence. It shows I don't know, mental agility. It just gives me that impression, right? And it's not about how you look, but how you present yourself, how you compose the picture. The third one is I think the most common photograph used right now. I'm going to be, annoying some people here, but I would say that's probably the lazy way of doing it because it's easy, right? Go to a studio, get a passport size photograph taken, and then attach it to your resume. If you care about the job you are applying for, go beyond that. Take these two examples. I would recommend that. Go ahead and send this by all means if you feel comfortable with it. But my recommendation would be these two here. Are we good? Thumbs up. Can I see thumbs up? Are we still okay with this? Do we need to repeat anything? Thank you, Akila. Thank you. Thank you, Branson. Great. Okay. Most of you are okay with it. All right. Um, I see a question from Hillary. I'll answer it at the end. Madiha, can you remind me? It's something about Times New Roman font. I'll answer questions at
Okay.
the end. Okay, thank you. Right, let's go and touch a little bit about content. There is somewhat of a small minor debate, either to include a summary or to include an objective. I will expand on this in the next slide. And in the resume, you will have your work history, and that should contain who you work for, in what position, and what your responsibilities were. Again, please try to be very brief and concise about, especially the responsibilities part. And the way you write it is that it should show certain attributes of yourself. Again, later slides, we will go into this in more detail. And it should show your academic qualifications, which college, school, or university you attended, and what you obtained, and the highlights. If, for example, you were president of the debating society, you received first class upper honors in actuarial studies. I don't know. These are the kind of highlights that I'm talking about. Okay. It should contain professional and other credentials and courses. For example, if you attended Microsoft Office course and you're an expert in it, by all means, list that out, especially if it is relevant to the job you're applying for. So, right, okay, certificates, language proficiency is very, very impressive as well. The more languages you know, the more people will welcome you as a candidate. Okay, I have a message. Okay, right. Short and long courses that you've attended, and this is volunteer and social work. If space allows and if relevant, it's very important to include this because it shows that you're a rounded person. You're not just an academician or stuff like that, but you care about the community. You're more rounded person. Okay. Madia, how do I get out of the annotation mode?
Which kind of mode?
Annotation mode. Hold on. Give me a few minutes, a few seconds. All right, we're back.
Okay.
Good. Okay, we're back. Now, as I promised in the slide before this, let's talk about whether we should do a summary or we should put in an objective. You should, in my opinion, and a lot of experts are talking about this now. They say that you should consider replacing objectives with executive summaries. Let me give you quick examples of a summary. Detailed oriented civil engineer with 5 years of experience and a zest for solving complex problems, seeking to use proven project management and design skills to improve quality, cost and time matrix for whatever company you're applying for. This is an example for a civil engineer. You can apply this for if you're an architect, if you're an office manager, if you're a public relations person, if you are an advertiser, whatever a profession, you can um, do a summary like this when to include in your resume. What does it tell the potential employer? It highlights your value to the potential employer, and your value is improve quality, cost, and time matrix for that company. Correct? Okay. What else does it do? It ensures clear understanding of your strong points. Where is that? It's with the 5-year experience, it's your zest or your enthusiasm or your spirit for solving complex problems. And then you also have proven project management and design skills, right? So, does it ensure clear understanding of your strong points? Yes, it does. And it emphasizes your key strengths. Again, it's almost the same thing as your strong points, your salient points, right? Now let's look at what is normally done or normally have been done in resumes, where you stated your objective. I've got 2 examples here. The first one is you say you want to obtain a position as a civil engineer with a leading civil engineering company. Second example, to secure a challenging position in a reputable organization to expand my learnings, knowledge, and skills. Thumbs up for those who have been doing this kind of objectives and including them in your resumes. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, right. There's quite a few, right? So all this while, me included, we thought that the objective is the one that states your case. But you know what objectives do? It tells the hiring manager what they already know. Yeah, sure. You write in you send in your resume because you want to obtain a position as civil engineer with a company with the company. Yep, you're telling the hiring manager what they already know, and it focuses on what you want. You want to secure a challenging position with them to expand your learnings, your knowledge, and your skills. Is that the right message you want to send to your hiring manager, the potential company that you want to work for? Have you seen some thumbs down if you don't think that is it? Yes. That's not what you want. Okay. So I I'm putting forth a strong case for you to use the example on the left, summarized and written in such a way that you show them, you're thinking of them, that you will be contributing to the company. Sure, you want to also help yourself. You want a salary, sure. You want to expand your horizon. You want to broaden your knowledge, and you want to gain experience. Yes, but you must demonstrate your desire to be a contributor to your new potential organization. This is what's happening now. This is what most HR practitioners are looking out for now. The empathy, the the understanding that it's a team. Me alone, not enough. Me with a team, the company alone, not enough. Me with the company working well is the winning formula. Are we good? Can we move on? Don't forget, don't forget to list your questions at the end, and we have the question and answer where you can unmute yourself, and then we'll ask questions. I don't know how Madiha wants to do this, but I'm really looking forward to answering your questions. Okay, the cover letter. Uh, thumbs up again. How many of you send cover letters with your resumes? Good, good. All right. That's that's an encouraging number. Encouraging number. Because cover letters are very important. When you send a cover letter, you have to customize it. All right, meaning what? No cut and paste. Okay, I'll I'll tell you a slightly humorous story. It was told to me by a person who runs an international school. So she was inviting applications for one position. I can't remember, some IT position to run the IT for the school. So she gets a resume with a cover letter, and let's say this school is called ABC International School, right? Um, the letter addresses to the HR manager, XYZ International School. What's happened there? What's happened there is that the applicant has copy pasted his or her application to XYZ International School and sent it off to ABC International School. You may think this is a silly mistake, but it's quite a common one because, in a way, you can blame Bill Gates for this, for making it too easy for us to copy and paste, right? So you have to be very diligent. You have to be, if you want the job, you know, hard enough, you want it badly enough, you have to be diligent. You have to make sure that those kind of mistakes don't happen. Guess what happened to that application, the whole resume and application letter that my friend at the international school received? It went straight into the basket, right? Doesn't matter how qualified the person is, but those kind of mistakes is fundamental, and it can never be. Okay, now going back to the cover letter. What is it for? Is to express your interest in a specific job, not just any job, but that job that you applied for. So be very specific about it. And your your cover letter gives you the chance to draw attention to the most relevant specifics on your resume. You can't do that on your resume itself because you can't tell a story on the resume. You can list out your qualifications and your suitability and all, but you cannot say, look, this because of this, I think you should hire me. This is done in the cover letter. Okay, presents the case why you should be hired, and it separates you, it sets you apart from the other candidates. That's the other reason why you should do a customer letter. Okay, show your passion for the position and the company. The cover letter allows you to do that and highlight your most relevant qualifications. Okay, right. Now, so much so that most HR practitioners nowadays, they say that as long as the what do you call the job advertisement allows you to, or doesn't say that you shouldn't send a cover letter, you should always send a cover letter. Okay. However, you mustn't include a cover letter when the job listing says no, don't send one, because it's important for you to demonstrate that you know how to follow directions or follow instructions. Okay. Thank you note. Again, thumbs up, thumbs down exercise, or no need for thumbs down, but thumbs up. How many of you send a thank you note? Excellent. Excellent. Oh, good. Looks like many of you do that. Okay. Let's go through it. And it should be sent after the interview, right? Not with your resume. What happens if you send your thank you note with the resume? If I were to read it, I'm going to assume that, my God, this person thinks that they got the job already. So very presumptuous, right? So if you're called for the interview, you go for the interview, then you send the thank you note, right? The effectiveness and the impact that the thank you note will have will actually surprise you. This is not really well known by many applications or applicants. So yeah, you will be surprised by how effective and how impactful, provided you do it properly. Let's look at what must be done and what mustn't be done. Your thank you note must be brief. It must be done with taste and must be believable. What do I mean by that? You must avoid groveling. Please, I beg you, I need this job. I want the job, please. That's groveling, okay? Or being pushy or aggressive. Yeah. I think you should take me for this job. Otherwise, your company will go bankrupt. Okay? I'm doing extreme examples, but you know what I mean. You catch my drift. You know where I'm coming from. Okay? Here is, in my opinion, a very good example of a short and sweet uh, thank you letter after the person has gone for an interview with Mr. Daliwal. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me and talk about the position of office manager or whatever yesterday. It was a pleasure to learn more about your business approach and company culture. Our conversation made me even more excited to join your company. Sincerely, so and so. A very short, sweet, not too groveling, not too, it doesn't beg, you know. Yeah, it praises the interviewer, and I think this is a very good example. Okay, some do's and don'ts about resume writing. Do be consistent in your format and your content. Don't uh, have a different style in the first page and, and have another style in another page. Balance white space. Don't clutter your resume. I'll explain a little bit more about white space in the example that I'm going to show you. You should use consistent spacing, and you should use underlining, italics, bold, and capitalization when it is appropriate. Not just everywhere and anytime, but when it is appropriate. Use these features in your word format to emphasize. Okay, white space. What is white space? This is an example of a good white space, right? It's easy to read compared to this one here, right? You get the meaning of white space now? You have enough spacing between items, like here, to make it pleasant to the eye and easier to read than here. This looks a bit cluttered. Would you agree? Okay. So you should use a cluster-free layout, like this example here. Right. Do list headings in order of importance. Again, depending on the job you're applying for. Some jobs require, or rather, it's better for you to list your academic qualifications first, and then list your experience, work experience. Some, it's better to list your work experience and then secondary listing of your academic qualifications, merely to support the fact that you've had these experiences. So it depends on, you have to read the job listing when they ask you to send a resume. Read what kind of job it is, and then you choose which headings to lead. Lead with the qualifications or lead with your experience. Now, within your headings, as I mentioned earlier, most experts say that your information should be in reverse time order. Most recent first, and then the earliest experience last. Okay, and I recommend very strongly that you convert your resume to PDF format. It's just a safer way of doing it, because if you send your resume Nowadays, you most of the time you send your resumes over the internet through email. If you attach a Word format, for example, people can play around with it. They can change your age. You can change the salary that you expect. It doesn't happen often, but why take the chance? Just convert it to a PDF format, which means that they cannot uh, change it without your permission. They cannot change your resume without your permission. And why would you give them permission to change it anyway? But when you do convert it to a PDF format, you must make sure you're translating, rather the formatting was translated or the format was sent accordingly, was sent properly to a PDF format. Another do is to keep it to just one page as far as possible. Now, if you have worked for as long as I have, and you still need to send out a resume, it's going to be very difficult to keep it to one page. In which case, again, depending on the position, you may be forgiven if you go into 2 pages. As I said, if you're a mid or late career professional, it's fine to make it 2 and sometimes even 3 pages. Okay? Don'ts. List of things that you shouldn't do, not recommended that you do. Don't forget to proofread. Remember the example I gave you earlier about the international school application? Applying to ABC International School, but actually says, dear HR manager, XYZ International School. Big mistake, and you're in trouble. So what do? You read out your resume aloud. Read it out. If you're alone, read it out to yourself. If not, if you have a family member or a significant better half, get him or her to help you. Read it out and get them to tell you. I think that one should be improved this way. I think you should mention that. I think you should expand on this. It will help. Okay. And for proofreading, you read your resume backwards to spot spelling mistakes. I know this is an outdated thing because you have uh, autocorrect, right? Or spell check. But sometimes spell check will put in, or autocorrect will put in the word that you don't want to be there. And it can make for some very embarrassing mistakes. So it's best to read it out and spell check in what do you call it, in manual way. Okay. Okay. Never use acronyms and abbreviations. What are acronyms and abbreviations? Examples are IMO, in my opinion. If you have an opinion, state it, in my opinion. Most of us know what IMO is, but it doesn't look good in a cover letter or in a resume. Okay. TNB, name of a company. You may have worked for, in this case, I work for Tractors Malaysia Berhad. Many people know TNB or TNB, Tenaga Nasional Berhad is another good example. But spell it out. Don't put TNB and assume that your reader knows what TNB is. It could be another company, right? It could be a toy manufacturing Berhad instead of Tractors manufacturing, Tractors Malaysia Berhad, So that's another example. AWOL means absent without leave. That's an acronym. Don't use those kind of acronyms. If you want to say absent without leave, I don't know why you want to say so, but just an example. Then spell it out. Say it in full. Okay. Don't use, well, try not to use an elaborate template with too many colors. I'm going to show you examples. And again, before I show you the example, this depends on the job you're applying for, right? Certain jobs you can do it. Certain jobs you may not want to do it. These are the examples. Okay, on the left, to me, it's okay. As an example, for if you're applying for corporate communication job or PR job or advertising job, fashion retail expert job, those kind of things. That's fine. But the one on the right, too many colors being used. It looks playful. It looks childish. Again, my opinion. But uh, also the considered opinion of many HR professionals. So if you're being stubborn and say, I like it, I want to send out this kind of resumes. You're applying for example, if you're applying for an engineering job or a legal position job, and you send or accountant job or bank job, and you send this kind of resumes, you may give the reader a couple of laughs. They may enjoy talking about it during the lunchtime with their colleagues, but chances are you may not be called in for interview, no matter how impressive your resume is. All right? Are we good? And more don'ts. Very important. Don't lie. Not even a white lie in your resume. I don't have to go into the thousands of reasons why you shouldn't lie. But remember, you lie, you will get caught. I give you an example. There was a mayor of our city, Kuala Lumpur, long time ago, who presented himself as someone with a doctorate. It was later found out that no, he didn't get any doctorate. It was a lie. He got caught. He got caught. And so many other various examples. If you say you're an expert in, I don't know, the life cycle of a rhinoceros beetle, and you apply for a job as a lab scientist or lab researcher, you get into the job, you're asked about it, you just cannot uh, substantiate that you have that experience or that skill. So don't lie. You will get caught. That's a very important thing. Do not boast or brag because no matter how good you think you are, no matter how well you think you've done, the reader may have done more than you. The reader may be more qualified than you. The reader may know a lot more than you. So you must learn the difference between boasting and being confident. When you talk about your academic qualifications and your experience and your skill, extra knowledge, do not be shy to mention all those things. But at the same time, do not write it in such a way that you're the best. You're the best in the world. Don't brag about it, okay? Unless you can really substantiate that you are the best, okay? And do not be rude because many people that I've met, maybe you're lucky that you haven't met too many of them, but I've met many people who do not know the difference between being assertive, being clear, and being upfront and assertive, and being arrogant. When they think they're being honest and assertive, in fact, they are seen as being arrogant. So you have to learn about this. It's probably subject for many other webinars, huh? But not we can't do that right now. I wish we could, but we can't because it's not covering the topic. Okay, here your resume is bloated with half truths, lies, false praise, groveling, exaggeration, lies again, and unsubstantiated accomplishment. Maybe you like, huh? We'd like to hire you to write propaganda for the government and for speeches for our prime minister. In case any of you missed it, this is a joke, right? And this can be for any government and any prime minister. So don't anyone report me to anybody, okay? So the the, the purpose of putting the purpose of putting this in is to highlight that for most jobs, you do not lie. You do not even tell half truths, white lies. You do not grovel and praise the company that you want to work for overly. You know, you don't do it overly. You can say, I am, I'm in awe, or I know your organization to be one of good standing with good record. That's fine. But you say, you're the best in the world. There's no other company I want to work except with for you. And when I work for you, I will be there 24/7. I will not want to take. Don't go all the way like that. Okay. So that's the message that this joke is supposed to send out to you. Right. Let's see some key takeaways that I've had over the years, and whether you agree with them. I share them with you anyway. Now, I've read recently that it's a new survey done post COVID, after the COVID came to us. Employers, they don't really look at your employment gaps anymore. I know that all this while, many people have been worried about employment gaps. For example, people who have had to take time off to look after somebody, a loved one who is sick, had to take maybe a year. Um, People who, after a year or two of working, finally decided, no, I'm going to take a year off. I was studying all this while, never had a chance to enjoy myself. I'm going to see the world. I'll take a year off or 2 years off. Okay. Don't worry too much about that. Okay. Because these days, hiring managers, hiring professionals, they they care more about your cover letters and your thank you notes than before the COVID-19 crisis. Something about the pandemic that has injected more humanity into people, I guess. Okay, now with the internet means that resumes are mostly sent by email, as against my early days when I was applying for positions. I always had to send them by snail mail. I know snail mail is still happening, but it's probably happening the same time as emails. Send me a hard copy, but also to make it quicker, send me an email. Because you can send it by email, by electronic means, you can also attach a brief video if you want. Yeah, but only if it is relevant and it enhances your presentation. Again, look at your application or the job you're applying for case by case. Don't have a cookie cutter solution for every position you're applying for. Look at it case by case. If you feel that this job would, it would increase your chances if you send a brief video of yourself, by all means do so. An example I would give you would be if you are applying for a customer um, caller center, customer service personnel, right? You can send a brief video of yourself explaining to a customer or tackling a customer complaint, or voiceover, a voice clip of yourself. All these can be helpful, but do it well, do it tastefully. Otherwise, you get thrown out, and your chances will be minimal. And you should consider follow-up emails. These are what I mean by thank you notes. It can be in the form of emails. But again, be careful. Don't push. If you've attended, if you've sent a resume on Monday, don't Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday send follow-up emails. What happened to my application? What happened to my application? Give it some time. Okay. If you don't hear from them, you send follow-up emails. It will, number one, it will usually not do any harm. Number two, it may inspire more confidence or instill more confidence in the hiring manager in you, because it shows you are interested. You are more than just applying by sending your resume, but you are genuinely interested by sending a follow-up email. I don't have to tell you that you have to be polite and don't be rude and don't be pushy about when you write your email. Okay, right. This is very important. You should customize each resume, each uh, cover note, application package to the specific job you're seeking. A very quick example: you have worked in 3 or 4 places, and you have 2 qualifications. Now, for certain jobs, job number 2, number 3 that you've done is more relevant. By all means, highlight the second and third job, or the second and third position that you've worked in your life. And qualification, the your master's may not be too relevant. Your undergraduate degree or your college certificate is more relevant. By all means, highlight that fact. That's not a problem there. Okay. Right now, this one is something that I learned some time back. You can be creative in your resume, in submitting your resume, but only if and when it is appropriate. A few years back, I got this application from an applicant together with a cover letter, cover note, um, the resume. This came along as well, a footprint, and the caption goes, "Now that I have one foot through the door, would you like to talk to the rest of me?" I thought it was very creative. I mean, it was for a public relations position, so probably very appropriate for that. But I think it may even work with other positions as well because it shows your creativity. Tell me, I'm doing a mini survey here, I guess. Tell me what do you think of this? Thumbs up for good idea and thumbs down for not so good idea. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nobody thinks it's a bad idea, right? Yeah, and somebody even applauding it. Very good. Um, be careful though. Again, be careful though. For depending on the company and the job you're applying for, right? If you know that that company is a very run by a very serious person, the HR manager is a very serious person who they don't appreciate this kind of creativity, don't don't send it. But otherwise, again, look at it this thing case by case. Okay, right? We're getting to the tips and summary. What's the purpose of the resume again? You got it. The purpose is to send a message. It's the fit that you are the one they need for the job, right? So, however you do your resume, whichever format you choose, whichever style you choose, keep this in mind. The message you want to send is you are the one they need for the job. Okay, so you should tailor make and you should tweak your resume for the position you applied for. And don't worry too much about resume gaps. As I said, maybe you took time off to look after a family member. Um, then you can explain the gap in cover letter as long as you have a very brief and palatable or positive explanation. The good news is that most managers these days say they no longer see the employment gap as a problem because people take gap years. It's not like before. Soon after school, you go into university or college, and after that, you're expected to get married, get a job, and get into the life cycle. These days, people are more forgiving if you don't go through that traditional route. And the other tip and summary is that cover letter and thank you note is more important now than ever before. If you haven't considered doing a cover letter and a thank you note after the interview, you should consider it now. Okay, these are the following things that most recruiters look at in a resume. They want to see how adaptable and how flexible you are. When you write out your, especially your job experience, uh, write it in such a way that it shows how adaptable you were to a given situation, or and how flexible you were in coming up with a solution. to an issue. They want to see how clear you are in communication. Again, don't forget, don't think that you have to come up with the Queen's English or the proper English with big words, bombastic words. No, that does not equal clarity in communication. Clarity in communication may be simple words, but it's how you put the words together and how you say it. Okay. Eight, your resume should be able to demonstrate your critical thinking and your problem solving skills. It should show that you are able to collaborate in a team and you work best as a team, as a member of a team. It should show that you manage time well, and a thank you note and follow-up notes. I have covered this quite extensively. If you haven't tried it before, try it now, but consider the things I said, depending on case by case. What's the final, in the final, what is the resume all about? I'm going to say it again. Telling your potential employer you are the one they're looking for. So the next time you sit down to write a resume tonight, tomorrow, whenever, next week, keep this in mind. Your resume should tell your potential employer, the reader of your resume, that you are the one they're looking for. How are we doing for time, Mariha? Are we okay to start the questions and discussions now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take the chat question first. It's from Hillary Hugh. Do Times Roman font size 12 acceptable on resume? Yes. Times Roman, a little bit of technical thing. Times Roman, if I'm not mistaken, is sans serif. Sans serif means it's got the little tails and all that. Unlike what the font that's being used here by WebEx, it's no, sorry, the Times Roman is serif. That means it's got the tail, right? But my personal preference is not to have those little tails at the end. My personal preference is to have a clear kind of font. And those 4 that I recommended are the ones I normally use. I hope that answers your question, Hillary. It's acceptable, but there are other fonts that may serve the purpose better. Hillary, are you still with us? Okay. Prashan Govindaraju, recommended font type. I recommended the 4. I can go back to that slide if you want, but they are, the usual business corporate fonts. Okay. Avoid italics, avoid script, brush script kind of fonts. Font size wise, as I stated, 10 is the very minimum, and you can go up to 14. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. If possible, use the same font size throughout the resume. Throughout, you may have to bold some parts of the resume. You may have to italicize some parts of the resume, but the font size and the font type should be the same throughout. Except maybe your name, the heading, maybe. But when it comes to the body and even the titles, it should be the same size. Okay, next. Is it necessary to put headline in our resume? I would say that an executive summary is better than a headline. From Hillary. Oh, you're welcome. From Branson Peter, do we need to put graphic scale, style, print resume, especially for skills and language proficiency, or just elaborate simply in word? I would say case by case, right? if you're applying for a job that has academic leaning, that where your language proficiency is going to be super important, please by all means elaborate on that. If you have scores like what you mentioned here, graphic style, print resume, graphic style. So if you have um, a way to demonstrate a score, say my French is scored at 8 out of 10. Yeah, you can put that in. But if it's not all that important, maybe you can just say that you are a proficient or you're a native speaker, or yeah, you can even say I get by in Norwegian. That's pretty impressive too, you know. Okay. For all those people asking questions here, if I have not provided you a satisfactory answer, please by all means type in your question again, or ask me again. Here, this one is from Branson Peter. Okay. Next one is Hillary. Okay. From Shah Muhammad. Do we need to list all of working experience in resume? Let's say the person working more than 4 companies with different positions. Thanks. Good question. There are several ways of doing this. I think it's important that you list out all the companies, even if it is just for a short while. But um, you should emphasize the positions and the companies that are relevant to the job you are currently applying for. Emphasize meaning maybe have leave a few more bullet points on the position and the functions you perform. Um, so the others you should still mention it. You should still mention it. It's important uh, for them to know that you have worked for 4 companies, for instance. Another thing this is not from responding to your questions, but the difference in the job market from before and for now. Most HR professionals will know this. If you are an HR professional, if you know this already, please bear with me. The job market now is so different from before. Before, HR professionals look for people who stay in one company for a long time. It shows loyalty. It shows, I don't know what else. Mainly, it shows loyalty. That's not happening anymore, because even the Japanese now, Japanese are known for people who work for one company their whole life. That's changed even, because times change, right? And there is nothing wrong. Nobody can say that it's wrong for you to look for better opportunities, even if you're happy with your current company. You want to expand your horizon, and let's not hide the fact that you want more money. You may need more money. That there's no shame in that at all. Moving from company to company for the right reasons, is no shame. If you move from one company to the other company because you kept stealing or you kept containing, you took time off where you're not allowed to, that's a different thing. But if you move because you wanted a change of scenery, you wanted to learn something new, you want to try something new in another new company, not a problem. You will not be penalized for that. Okay. Next question is from WebEx from WebEx Room. Can we put our IC on resume, or is it dangerous? I would caution you not to on the resume. And no HR professional should be asking you for it. And they shouldn't, definitely they shouldn't punish you if you don't, because your IC is your personal thing. You can, once you if you attend an interview, and you secure a job, sure they need your personal particulars. That's fine, but not on a resume. If they ask you for it, up to you. If you feel it's safe, you feel you know the company well, you know the people working for the company, put it in. But my overall advice is you don't need to. You shouldn't. Okay. From Hood, where can I get recording for this webinar? I am just the speaker. I don't know. Please talk to PERKESO. Please talk to the moderator about this. From Prasan, is it recommended to put in my expected salary and passport size picture in my resume? I'll tackle the passport size thing first. The size is not really the issue in as far as I'm concerned, right? Um, like I was saying earlier, the passport size is a shot that captures you in a very serious mood because it needs to. You're not allowed to smile even when you take a passport size. When you take a picture for passport, right? Um, the issue is, I think you should pose, and the pose should um, should give a picture of confidence, a picture of someone whom people would like to relate to, would like to speak to, would like to be around with, you know. So nothing wrong with a passport size picture, nothing wrong with the passport style posing, but if you are looking to stand out among others, you're looking to be better than others, which you should be, then I suggest do a pose. Learn how to pose well. Nowadays, so many people have cameras. You can even do a good selfie, even. Okay. Next question would be, who can be our references? Almost anyone should be your reference. Anyone who's had a good experience with you, your school teacher, right? Maybe not primary school because you can change, right? But your college professor or university professor, your colleague, your immediate boss, or even your CEO in the previous company can be your references. Now look out for the job listing. If they tell you, please list 2 previous employers, then do so accordingly. If not, choose people who you know think well of you. Avoid. I have to say it should go without saying, but avoid people who don't like you. If you're asking for trouble, from one known Madiha. Oh, private one. Okay, I won't mention it then. It was asked to me privately. Right, from Hillary, is it good idea to include the passport size photo size in our resume, considering the employee in Malaysia take to be biased? I don't quite understand it. What is the bias? Bias in the sense that they like passport size or they don't like passport size? Can you explain that, Hillary?
No. In Malaysia content, like bias means that like sometimes when you put your picture, they are more likely to hire you. It's like that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Are you talking about sometimes they prefer men and a woman applies, or they prefer a certain race, another race applies. You're talking about that, right? Or age even, right? They're expecting somebody younger, but an old person applies. Is that what you're talking about, Hillary? I guess, okay, that's it. The answer would be, um, I think you should still send, but if you don't feel comfortable, then and if the job listing does not say, please include uh, uh, recent photograph of yourself, then you can opt not to send it. Okay, but truth be told, from your name, from your listing of academic qualifications, people can tell your age, your gender, of course, from the name itself, right? And they can also tell how you look like or what race you belong. This is unfortunately something that cannot be resolved right now. It's a pretty sensitive question. So in short, my answer is there is no straight answer to that. It really depends on case to case. Yeah, I hope I've answered you the best way I can. All right, next question. From Ho Hui Fen. Do we put our age in the resume? If they ask for it, put it down. If not, you don't need to. You don't need to. Okay? Unless you think it's going to be adding to your strength, right? If it's a senior position, you've done a lot, and yet you're still young, then you want to put your age, your date of birth. Another way would be if you've done a lot and you've had a lot of experience, you may want to put your birth date in, because then they can relate. Okay, this person is old enough to have done all this, so is old enough to be and matured enough to be all that he or she says that he or she is in the resume. Okay, so from Nur Atika, do we need to inform them if you want to put their name as references? Yes, very good question, Nur Atika. Do not, okay, never put somebody down as reference without getting their permission first. Informing them and getting their permission first. Because if they don't know, and if for whatever reason they forget who you are, right? And if they are annoyed that you gave their name to someone they don't know, then they might not help you. They might even harm your application. They might say, I don't know who this person is. I don't remember him or her. Or this person gave you my name. I'm not happy. It shouldn't have been done. Okay. So in short, the short answer to your question is yes. Every time you want to put somebody down as reference, do inform them and get their permission. Very good question. Thank you. From Sahwa Mansura. Oh, that's a private. Can I answer your question in public? It looks like a very harmless question. I'm a final year student. Oh, final year student, I'll be doing my internship. Is it okay if my resume have 2 pages? I would recommend not. Unless no, as a rule of thumb, in general, no. If you are just starting out in the job market, you're doing internship and stuff, you just graduated, you shouldn't have to put your resume in 2 pages. You should be able to include them all, in fact, in 1 page. Okay. Yeah, Hillary, I understand it now. Tend to be biased for whatever reason. I hope I've answered you. I'm from. Okay. This next person also asked me privately, so I won't mention the name. I think that's the best way to do it. Shah Ghani, is it true that we are not required to provide IC number, address, and date of birth in the resume? I have to confess, I don't have the definitive answer for this, the legal answer for this. If you ask me for what I feel, I agree that you shouldn't need to provide your IC number. You shouldn't need to provide your address. Why would they want to know your address? Okay, and your date of birth. Okay, now I'll address it one by one. IC number, clear-cut case. Why would they need your IC number when you don't have any relationship with them formally, legal relationship with them, right? It's dangerous for you to give your IC number to anyone that you don't know or you don't have a legal relationship with. That's IC number. Address. You don't need to. They don't need to know where you live, right? If you're afraid, okay, let's say an example here. You live in Bangsa. The job is in Shah Alam or Pudu or let's say somewhere further, Kajang, for example, right? You live in Bangsa, the job is in Kajang. If you put down your address, there may be bias in the fact that you're far from from where you're supposed to work. That could trigger a negative response. I don't think I want to look at this candidate because he or she is going to probably have trouble commuting. Okay, so you don't need to put your address. If you yourself, you know where the job is located, where the potential job is located. You think you can solve whatever transport or commuting problems there is. You're still applying for it. It should be good enough for the employer. We are all matured adults, right? So employers will normally trust the applicant to know for themselves. The job is in Kajang, you're in Bangsa. It's your problem how you get to us on time and how you don't miss work and that you're punctual. Okay, does that answer your question? I hope so. If not, again, like I said, tell me something. Yeah, Hillary, yes, okay, good. I think I've answered your question. Okay, another question is for fresh graduates. Is it necessary to include extracurricular activities during university year in our resume? Yes, you may. Again, it depends on what the activities are. Something. Let's put it this way: you look at the job that you're applying for, and you look at the company that you're applying for. If you think that being captain of the debating society is important in that job, by all means, put it down and highlight it. If you joined, let's see, uh, uh, ketupat weaving club, and you're applying for a job as an accountant, I don't see the relevance. You can mention it if you have the space in one line. I was a member of the Ketupat Weaving Society. I enjoyed the product after our activities. You can mention that, but it may not enhance your chance. Oh, are, Madiha, have we run out of time?
No, no, I'm just sharing. I'm just sharing.
Oh, okay, all right. So where I've lost the chat screen.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
let me stop first. Let me stop the sharing.
chat screen.
It's okay, it's
I
okay. You can continue.
yep.
I will put it later.
Oh, okay, right. Okay. Now I see the share screen again. Okay. Where am I? Ooh, there's a lot I have to answer. I better go quickly. Right. So next question is online courses from Humaira. Okay. Yeah, online courses that we learn on ourselves. And for example, if there are workshop or events that we attend. Again, depending on how important the courses are and how important the workshops are. Some of us are very active attending courses and workshops. If you list them all, then you probably need a 10-page resume. Okay. From WebEx, should we hide our master's degree or PhD on resume if you're applying for a job that requires degree level only? Farah, I wouldn't really do that because, like I said, I personally would look at it as a white lie, and you get caught out. But it's your call. It's your personal, personal call. But if you ask me for my opinion, I would say no, don't hide it. Okay. Someone wants to ask me verbally, Prashan. Okay, can you, yeah, on your mic and
Okay,
I
sure.
can,
Okay,
yeah,
this is the situation here.
yeah,
I'm an engineer. I graduated in 2012. All
yeah.
right. I've been working in the non-engineering line for about 7 years.
Okay,
Okay. And now I have been unemployed for 1.5 years due to COVID.
okay,
I want to go back into engineering job. That means if I have to go back, I have to start back from zero experience because my previous work has nothing to do with engineering for the seven
right,
years.
right.
So
Okay.
it was into IT industry and service and technician job. So now I want to go back into engineering.
Okay.
So any advice on my resume for
Um.
applying jobs?
Right. I addressed the 1.5 years that you been out of a job.
Okay.
If you're worried about the gap there,
Okay.
then no need to worry at all. People understand. This is something that nobody asked for, right? So you lost a job because of something that's totally not your fault, not the company's fault. Okay.
Okay.
Let's address the gap, the 1.5 year gap. Right. So then next is 7 years that you worked before that, you didn't work in an engineering position. Is that
Yep, it
right?
was so hard to get a job that I
Right.
just took whatever job that came in front of me, and
Right.
it was not related to engineering. And I think this time I can get, but the thing is, because I'm currently right now 33 years old, and I
Okay.
want to apply a zero experience job engineering, which usually a fresh graduate usually
Sure.
applies.
Yep.
So
Yep.
is it possible they can absorb me even despite with my age
Okay.
and
I can only
like,
tell you, I can only answer you from my own perspective. If I were on the other side and I received your application and I
okay,
see 7 years, right, in an engineering or non-engineering or non-engineering related position, and then 1.5 years gap. I don't worry about the gap. Then I
mhm,
look at the 7 years, and you're
yep,
applying for what do you call it? Entry level position, right?
yep,
Am I right? Okay.
yep,
I would I would want to talk to you. You know why?
okay,
Because you persevered for 7 years, even though you couldn't get the job in engineering which you studied for, but you persevered, you worked, you didn't wait around for an engineering job. You
okay,
did whatever job you could. I personally would want to talk to you. Does
all
that
right,
make, yeah? So I
yep,
wouldn't worry about it. I mean, of course you're going to get people who say, "Oh, look, take one look. He worked 7 years, but not in engineering. I'm not interested." Of course you're going to get that, but you're going to get an employer who will look beyond that, who will
what
see.
about the age gap?
I I'm not worried about it.
You know, I'm
Are
33
you?
years old. I'll
Yeah.
be applying a fresh graduate position.
Are you healthy?
Yeah, I'm healthy. Yeah.
So what's the problem?
Okay.
You
Because
know?
I thought, because some
Yeah.
people they may think that, okay, a very old guy, I mean a much elderly guy going working in with all the juniors, he might not be happy because some of them might not be able to take someone
Yeah.
junior as their boss. You know what I mean? It can cause some problem. So maybe an employer might think that. Is it
But
possible?
you of course it's possible, but you applied, right? you
Yeah.
know you know that there could be issues, but you applied.
Yeah.
For me, again, I put myself in the hiring manager's shoes.
Mhm.
I say that I would want to talk to you for several
Okay.
reasons. For several reasons. One, again, I mentioned to you earlier, you work for 7 years in a field that you don't really want to work in, but you did it anyway because it's important to work, right? So you've gained
Yes.
experience from that field, from IT. You mentioned IT. You have
Yep.
experience in that field. You
Yep.
have working experience. Do not underestimate working experience.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
So
fresh
even though,
graduates. Yeah.
mhm, mhm.
Sorry, let me just finish my point.
Okay, sorry. All
A
right.
fresh graduate, a fresh doctorate graduate, never
Mhm.
worked before,
Okay.
may not have the qualities that you have, the experience that you have. So don't be afraid of those 7 years. Okay?
Okay. And just want to say,
Yeah.
while I was working in the non-engineering company, I have developed communication skills. That means
Good.
I've improved my soft skills. I'm able
Right.
to speak with confidence and all
Right.
that. So
Right.
communication skills and team player is what I've developed. And the other one is
Yeah.
um, troubleshooting and problem solving skills is what I developed, even though it's not
Okay.
related to engineering. So those
Okay.
skills can really help in applying fresh graduate engineering jobs, right?
Of course. They will help. They will definitely help. Look, here, okay, let me just simplify it.
Okay.
You have the technical competency, you have the engineering degree, right?
Yes. Yep.
And then you have developed soft skills,
Yep.
right? Teamwork and communication skills.
Yes.
You combine the two, you're going to be, and I again mentioned, you're going to be more valuable to a company than a fresh doctorate graduate who doesn't have communication skills, who doesn't know about working in a team. Okay, so don't be afraid of those 7 years that you didn't work in engineering. You have an engineering degree, which I assume is not outdated. You may need some tweaking. You may need some fresh courses to update yourself or upgrade yourself. But you went through an engineering course for 3 or 4 years, I'm not sure, and you are certified technically competent in engineering.
Yep.
And in the meanwhile, you've accumulated those other soft skills. I think you should not undersell yourself. Did I answer
Okay.
you?
Yep. So I'm not overqualified for certain junior position, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And this is again where the cover letter is important. You should very
Correct.
clearly state what you just told me in your cover letter without being apologetic, without being, sounding sorry, and
Okay.
without being overly bragging about your essential skills. Just state the facts. I have an engineering degree. Meanwhile, I work in other fields, and when I work in the other fields for 7 years, these are the skills I have accumulated. Therefore, I think I am qualified to join, and I want to work in the engineering field. Therefore, I feel I'm qualified to join your company. That's that's where it should be. Okay, I have to move on. I hope I have
Okay.
answered you. All right.
Sure. No problem. Thank you, Mr. Ghani.
You're welcome. Okay, SPM failed English. You're not the only one. Many people have. I don't think you should let that stop you. Use courses to learn English. I'll be talking about this in another webinar sometime in April. Maybe you can follow that webinar. All right. Is it advisable to send our resume to the company asking for special language which we don't have? Um, it depends on what the language is. If it is so special, you mean another language, meaning what? Computer language or speaking language or cultural language? If you're talking about someone wanting a German-speaking person to apply, and you don't know German at all, then you probably better not apply because you don't fit the bill, right? However, if if there's someone asking for somebody who can speak Croatian here, right? And you know that not many people speak Croatian here in Malaysia, you could still try because then they say, okay, the language is a secondary thing, but I want to look at how fast a learner this person is. If if he or she is a fast learner, maybe we can send him or her on a very quick Croatian language course, and then meet that qualification. I hope that's clear. Okay, Hillary, for references, just put available upon request. Can be done. Can be done. If you can get the references to send to go with your resume, it's better. Yeah, my recommendation would be to to send in your references together with resume. Okay, from everyone, is it advised to add skills that are relevant to the job position? Because sometimes resume can get too long. Yeah. Question coming from Haitam of WebEx room. Yeah. Okay. The rule of thumb is 1 to 2 pages. If you're applying for lower level or entry level position, 1 page should be enough, including the skills that you want to add. Now, again, the skills. Be very selective. What skills you want to bring? You want the job, the hiring manager to know you have. For example, if you are applying for a job as a legal assistant, and you put one of the skills as I'm the champion kite maker in my village. I don't think that's relevant, right? But if you say I have developed the skill of debating, of analyzing legal papers, those are the kind of skills that you want to put in. Then you look at how long your resume is. If it's too long, you cut out the kite maker skill and highlight the legal argument skill. Okay. You're welcome, Safwa. From Nurul Jannah binti Abdullah. I just graduated and haven't got my transcript yet. Can I still apply for the job? Yes. Don't wait for your transcript. Apply for the job, and if you're lucky, or if you qualify to be called in for interview, get your transcripts ready for the interview. Even if you don't have it, go for the interview and tell them the truth. I haven't got my transcript yet. Then they probably ask you for a provisional one, or midterm one. I don't know whatever you call it now. Something like a projected one. If you don't have that even, then you can tell them, I probably got this and this and this for this grade, this grade and this grade for this subject, this subject, this subject. You can discuss with them. Okay, this private question, so I'll answer without telling the name. May I know, for fresh graduate, what should we put right on summary? That's a question, a good question, but it's going to take a long time to answer. But in summary, I would say, if you don't have any experience at all, then you should describe your strongest qualities in the summary, and how those qualities and skills can help you in the position you're applying for, and can help you contribute to the company that you're applying to. Okay. Chong Yuat, you're welcome. From Hillary, in the cover letter, how many pages that we should do? 1 page, just 1 page. Do we need to include the sender address? If you want, nowadays, I would recommend that you send a letter through email, in which case you don't really have to put your house address or office address, which is not needed at this stage, at the resume or the job application stage. Maybe required later, but you don't need to, unless the company specifically asks you for your address. Then you have to consider whether you want to risk them coming to your house or not. Okay. All right. From Hafizur Rahman, some companies require our residence address. We were just talking about this. Good. So they can hire a person who lives nearby, can reach office immediately, or maybe they don't want to pay transport allowance. Okay. Now, my immediate reaction to this is, if they want your company address, your residence house address, give it to them. Okay. And if you have an idea, or if you have a notion that they are looking for someone who lives nearby and can reach immediately, you can put in your cover letter. You can even be frank about it. I realize that where I live and where your office is may not be very close, but I am the sort of person who will honor any agreement I go into. If I'm asked to come to the office at 9, I will be there before 9. and I will have no problem leaving for home late if I have to. You can address that immediately in your cover letter. This is why the cover letter is very important. You cannot have all this kind of details in the resume. I hope that answered your question, Havizor. From Branson Peter, I have one question. Do I need to put any outside courses that I attended before, such as CIDB and NEOSH courses in my resume? Yes. If you have the space, put them down because it shows that you are a well-rounded person, an all-rounder. Even if it is not related, these are courses that are that can be useful in almost at almost any time and in almost any industry. EIDB is a construction industry course, right? And NEOSH is occupational safety courses. These are not courses that you should not put forward. These are courses that are relevant and should put forward. Prashant, you're welcome. From Ram, speaking Japanese or Mandarin. The question is, did you include if you speak Japanese or Mandarin? By all means, please do. These are international, universal languages that can only help, and it will not be a problem. Hillary, how are we going to respond the employer attitude that stated that we only take candidates that have experience compared to fresh graduate or workers who don't have experience? But how are we going to get experience when, yeah, this is the question. Even one of my children asked the same question. He's also a fresh graduate, and every time he applies, he looks at entry-level position. People with 5 years experience should apply. It doesn't make sense. My immediate reaction would be that if there's such an employer, and you're right, this employer has an attitude, and the way to look at it is you may not want to necessarily be hired by such an employer that don't have the right attitude, right? Because if you look at it, they want a low or low entry level person, which means that they pay you low entry level salary, okay, whatever that may be, and yet they want somebody with experience. So what it means is that they want the best of both worlds. They want a person cheap, but a person who is good and with experience. Consider before you apply. Consider carefully before you apply. You may not want to work with somebody like that. But if you don't have a choice, then you don't have a choice. I hope that answers your question. Okay. To reconfirm, you only do thank you letter after undergoing an interview. Yes. If you haven't gone for an interview, you don't really have anything to thank them for. So the answer is yes. Oh, Madiha, I've come to the end of the question. That's good. I thought I wouldn't be able to finish it. Madiha?
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? I'm still here. We're still here until 4. We've got 10 minutes more.
Okay, everybody, please give your final questions. Okay, and then when you give your questions, and then we can like end this session. But before we end, I want you guys to answer an exit survey form. Oh, sorry. Okay. Share you question. Okay, there's chat below as well. Okay, wait. Okay, please scan here. But I will give you the link, the chat session. Okay. Okay, everybody, do you have any more questions? If not, you can answer.
I see one. I see
one.
one.
Okay.
A question from Safwa Mansura. Oh, again, private, but never mind. The question is how to avoid being too confident in putting our skills in our resume. This is a style of writing, I'm saying. So first put the facts down, and then if you depends on your skills in English. Yeah, if you put your facts down, I don't think you will be seen as too confident, right? Then where you can stand out is how you highlight the certain parts of the resume to fit or your skills to fit the job. That would be the answer. Okay? Avoid boastful words like I am the best in the world. You know, no one else can compare with me. You know, avoid those kind of things. Just let your skills and your qualification do the talking. Hillary, yes, I have a LinkedIn profile. I'll look for you on LinkedIn and we can connect. Vika, to everyone. Oh yeah, okay. These are housekeeping things. The survey. Can I say something, Maria, to everyone?
Yes. Yes.
All right. I want to thank everyone for taking part. I've enjoyed this webinar series. Truth be told, honestly, I prefer a one-on-one or face-to-face engagement. But we know that it's not quite possible right now. And I want to thank PERKESO and Direct English for organizing this really very helpful, very useful series of webinars to help those of us who are looking for a job. Lastly, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, good luck in your job hunting, and I wish you get the best of what you're looking for, the best job and the higher salary that you're looking for. The most important thing, right? Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, so okay,
Yeah.
Mr. Shah. So we are going to take a photo, right,
Okay.
for this webinar session. So I would like the participant to actually open up your camera so that we can take a group photo. Okay, Madia, maybe you can stop sharing for a while because we'll take a photo.
Okay.
Give me 2 minutes. I want to put on makeup.
Sure. Okay. Okay. All right. So
Done? No.
not yet. So I'm waiting for them to open up their camera. Okay.
Everybody, please open.
Okay. Meanwhile, I want to say welcome. You're welcome to all those people who have thanked me in the chat room, chat box. I'm glad you found it useful. Yeah.
Okay, and count 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay, hold on, give me a second. So we'll take another one.
Yeah, more dynamic. Oh yeah, nice.
Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shah. Thank you, Madiha.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll
Thank you.
see you again, Mr. Shah, during another session. And then for the participant, no worries. You'll receive your e-certs once the EIS webinar series finish. It will be, the last one will be 15th of April, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you, host. Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Shah.
another thing,
Bye.
all participants, you can scan your
Thank you,
QR
everyone.
code over the screen, or please go to the chat box. You can see a QR link over there. Please click on that and please respond, because we will only take your names and send you emails through the link. So please, please, please do so, and please give us your feedback and what you want from us, for we can arrange you another section of webinar. So thank you so much in advance, and please don't forget to scan the QR code. All right, thank you. Have a great day ahead and stay safe, everyone.